I refuse to die surrounded by doctors, dying in a hospital, withering away.
What if someone could sense things before they happen? And it actually lines up in ways that make people stop and stare? What if warnings, feelings, and quiet impressions started showing up long before anyone else even noticed? A problem? Tyler Henry has built a reputation around moments like these. He once shared a warning with a celebrity about a possible house danger, months before devastating fires later made headlines.
I immediately was getting a feeling of a woman that was coming through that acknowledged that she passed away too soon, communicating her feelings before she passed, feelings that had to be really depressing.
Having other people's emotions, imprinted upon mine, because it's almost like sharing a headspace almost, which makes it difficult sometimes to distinguish between one's own feelings and thoughts and someone else's.
In another case, he urged someone to pay attention to their health after sensing something wasn't right. Stories like these spread fast, pulling millions of eyes toward him and his unusual ability. Now, hundreds of thousands of people are waiting for just one reading. Number has climbed past 600,000, all hoping for a chance to connect, reflect, or find some kind of clarity. Tyler became widely known through shows on E!
And I went to my mom after a few days of this not subsiding, and I said, "Mom, I think my brain is swelling, and I want you to..."
And Netflix, where viewers watched him deliver emotional readings that left people stunned. Behind all of that attention, there's a much deeper story unfolding quietly. One that includes serious health struggles, personal challenges, and a past that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. The spotlight shows the gift, but not always the pressure that comes with it. Long before the cameras, before the fame, Tyler was just a 10-year-old kid growing up in Hanford, California. One morning, he experienced something he couldn't explain. Ages, a strong feeling about his grandmother that didn't make sense at the time. It wasn't loud or dramatic, more like a quiet knowing that settled in before anything had actually happened.
I've found in this practice that sometimes holding onto an object will actually make a stronger connection with a particular person. Ultimately, anybody can come through. It could be someone connected to the object. I might bring through people that aren't connected to the object.
He tried to explain it to his mother. Putting that kind of feeling into words isn't easy, especially for a child. That moment stayed with him, becoming the starting point of something that would later shape his entire life. And here's what often gets overlooked. First thing he ever connected with wasn't comfort or closure. It was loss.
When the door opened, I had absolutely no idea who answered it. She was really sweet, really, really nice, but I had no clue.
That's a heavy thing for anyone, especially someone so young. It wasn't about fame or TV or big Hollywood homes back then. It was just a kid trying to understand something he couldn't turn off. Tyler Henry Colwyn was born January 13th, 1996, in Hanford, a quiet city near Fresno. He went to Sierra Pacific High School, didn't follow a traditional college path. There was no formal training, no structured program, no clear guide for what he was experiencing. Just a regular small-town life.
Who's Elaine?
That's his fiance.
Mixed with something very unusual. Think about that for a second. While most kids are focused on school, sports, and friends, Tyler was dealing with thoughts and impressions he couldn't easily explain. Information would come in, but sharing it felt uncomfortable. And ignoring it wasn't easy either. During a 2024 appearance on Dinners on Me with Jesse Tyler, Ferguson, he talked about how difficult it was to explain these experiences growing up.
An abruptly early age in a tragedy, and this is the way that it comes across. She, in her personality, was very strong and very stubborn, and everybody knew that. And she actually was known for dyeing her hair two colors.
God.
Feeling didn't just disappear over time either. It stayed with him, even as his life became more public. He also described something interesting. If too much time passes without doing readings, starts to feel a kind of internal pressure building up. Almost like something needs to be expressed but has nowhere to go. It's not something he can just switch off or step away from completely. This wasn't a path he carefully planned out. It's something that started early and never really closed. Years later, that same door is still open, and stepping through it comes with challenges most people never see. Now, fast forward to age 19, while most people are just figuring out their next steps. Tyler was already on television. His show quickly gained attention, especially after a few moments with celebrities that got people talking. From emotional readings to surprising connections, viewers were hooked. After the first season of Hollywood Medium, the demand skyrocketed. He shared that over 175,000 people had already requested private readings. And that number didn't slow down, kept growing until it reached over 600,000. That's not just a number. That's hundreds of thousands of people, each carrying their own stories, memories, and questions, all hoping for a moment of connection. Kind of attention brings opportunity. It also brings pressure that's hard to measure. While the public saw the highlights, the viral clips, celebrity reactions, the emotional moments, there was another side unfolding at the same time. Personal struggles, health challenges, and the weight of expectations all building quietly in the background. His success came fast, but it didn't erase the difficult parts of his journey. If anything, it made them more complicated, because when everything looks perfect on the outside, people rarely stop to ask what it actually feels like behind the scenes. Tyler didn't just gain attention. He became one of the most talked about mediums in Hollywood, sitting face to face with names like the Kardashians, Rebel Wilson, Anne Heche, Dr. Drew, Chrissy Metz, and Tom Arnold, all before he was even old enough to rent a car without extra fees in most places. To viewers, he came across calm, kind, and almost otherworldly, always with his notebook, always composed. Behind the scenes, something very different was happening. His body had already started sending warning signs, and those signals were getting harder to ignore. Fame showed up fast and bright, but the price of it crept in quietly. Suddenly, everything escalated. His health became a serious battle, one that many people didn't even realize was happening. This part of Tyler's story doesn't get nearly enough attention, but it matters. From early on in his public career, he's been dealing with ongoing health challenges that kept getting more intense over time. It started with a brain cyst. While filming Hollywood Medium, he began experiencing severe headaches that wouldn't go away, the kind of pain that forces you to stop everything. He had to make repeated trips to doctors just to have the cyst drained, trying to keep it from growing and causing even more serious problems. So while people saw him delivering emotional readings on screen, off camera, he was pushing through real physical pain just to keep going. But that wasn't the end of it. Not even close. In 2020, things took a serious turn. Tyler suffered a collapsed lung shortly before a scheduled performance. It was sudden and dangerous, leading to months of recovery in the hospital. His partner, Clint Godwin, later described it as a near-death experience, a moment that could have gone very differently. Tyler has shared that he believes he may have gotten sick earlier that year, which could have played a role in what happened. On top of that, he also deals with cysts on his lungs, adding even more to an already heavy list of medical concerns. And the thing is, he rarely centers his story around these struggles. Most people watching had no idea how much he was dealing with behind the curtain. Just when it seemed like things might finally settle down, 2025 brought another wave of challenges. Within just 6 months, Tyler went through his third brain surgery to deal with a recurring cyst. Then, in May 2025, he revealed he had undergone yet another procedure, this time for a colloid tumor located near the center of his brain. At only 29 years old, that's a lot for anyone to face. And still, his message to fans wasn't fear, it was gratitude. He shared, "This isn't my first rodeo with this, and I have so much to be thankful for. I'll see you all very soon, with lots of thought-provoking topics, and of course, readings." Think about that for a second. Recovering from brain surgery and already talking about getting back to work. That says a lot about how seriously he takes what he does. This doesn't come across like someone just maintaining an image. It feels more like someone who genuinely believes their work matters and feels a strong sense of responsibility to keep showing up. At the same time, Tyler has openly wondered if there's a connection between his abilities and his health challenges. He once said, "It's the biggest question I have. Why? If this is something of a gift, does it come at a cost?" And the difficult part, there isn't a clear answer. That uncertainty lingers, and it adds another layer to everything he's already dealing with. Just when you think his story couldn't get more intense, there's another twist, and this one comes from his own family history. While Tyler is known for helping others uncover the past, his own background holds a deeply complicated story that took years to unravel. It involved DNA testing, family investigations, and eventually even a Netflix documentary to start piecing everything together. In 2019, Tyler's mother, Teresa Colowin, took a DNA test that revealed something completely unexpected. The woman who raised her was not her biological mother. She grew up in a difficult environment with a woman named Stella, who showed very little warmth toward her. And over time, more information about Stella's past came to light, making the situation even more complicated. When Teresa was just 12 years old, Stella was sentenced to life in prison for serious crimes involving two individuals. It was a shocking and life-altering moment that changed everything for the family. There was also a situation involving Stella's son, Peter, who became connected to the case at a young age. His involvement and later testimony affected the direction of his life in a major way, shifting plans he once had for his future. Years later, Teresa was finally able to connect with her biological family in New Orleans, opening the door to answers that had been missing for so long. And just like that, Tyler's story becomes more than fame, more than readings, more than television. It becomes a layered journey filled with health battles, personal discoveries, and questions that still don't have clear answers. When Teresa finally reconnected with her biological family, they uncovered something emotional. Her birth mother had struggled deeply after giving her up. That reunion meant everything, but it also came with a lot to process. And here's the surprising part. Tyler, person known for helping others understand the past, couldn't fully make sense of his own family story. He admitted he felt too close to it, like his emotions were blocking his usual clarity, despite the distress of the destructive church when it helped to help strangers, when it came to his own mother. He had to sit in the unknown right alongside her. No shortcuts, no clear insight, just real complicated feelings. Another major part of Tyler's journey played out in public, his experience coming out while building a career in the spotlight. He shared that it wasn't one simple moment. Coming out as gay was for me a process of many coming outs, he explained in an April 2024 interview. It wasn't on his terms either. He described feeling pushed forward, then pulled back, like he didn't fully control his own story. That kind of pressure is tough, especially when people are constantly watching. Some questioned him, suggesting it was just a phase or something temporary. And instead of moving forward once, he found himself having to explain it again and again. For someone who supports others through emotional moments, facing that kind of doubt personally hit hard. Being told your identity isn't real, while millions are watching. That leaves a mark. Through all of it, one person stayed steady. Clint Godwin. He stood by Tyler through everything. Health scares, long recoveries, emotional highs and lows. Even the deep dive into Tyler's family history on Netflix. After nearly a decade together, Tyler and Clint got married in May 2025, just days before another major brain surgery. That timing says a lot. Clint had seen the hardest moments up close and still chose to stand right. They're beside him. Now here's where things get even heavier. Predictions that brought Tyler fame also bring a kind of emotional weight. Doesn't just disappear, Imagine sensing something serious for someone, sharing it, and then later seeing events unfold in a way that reminds you of that moment. That's not something you just brush off. There was a widely talked about moment involving Alan Thicke.
During a reading, Tyler encouraged him to pay attention to his heart health.
At the time, it didn't seem urgent. Months later, Thicke passed away from a heart-related event in 2016.
Kind of situation sticks with you.
Then there's Ricki Lake. In October 2024, she and her husband appeared on Tyler's Netflix show, Live from the Other Side. During their session, Tyler spoke about concerns involving fire and water affecting their home. A few months later, in January 2025, Ricki shared an update online saying the great Tyler Henry called it less than 3 months ago. On October 15th, 2024, Ross and I were on Tyler's show. And guys, he saw the fire. Her home was later lost in a devastating incident. Even when people acknowledge those moments, doesn't make the outcome easier. Being aware of a possibility doesn't always prevent it. And that reality carries weight for everyone involved. Think about that feeling for a second. Knowing something might happen, speaking on it, and then watching it unfold anyway. Being right doesn't undo the situation. It just means you have to carry that memory with you. When Tyler is asked if he ever wishes he didn't have this ability, his answer isn't simple. He sees it as part of who he is, not something he can switch off when things get overwhelming. It's always there, whether he wants it or not. And at 29, he keeps going. Despite brain surgeries, a collapsed lung, and a complicated family history, Tyler continues, showing up for people who are looking for comfort and understanding. In early 2025, he was preparing for a multi-state tour, planning stops in places like Nevada, Oregon, and Ohio. The tour was called An Evening of Hope and Healing, and it was meant to bring people together for powerful, emotional experiences. Even while dealing with serious health challenges, he was still focused on getting back out there. In May 2025, he had appearances planned in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Scottsdale, Arizona, but then shared that he needed another brain surgery. He told fans he would be on bed rest for about a month, but made it clear he planned to return as soon as he could. Message was simple, but powerful. Take time to recover. Get back to helping others. Doesn't come across like someone chasing attention. It feels more like someone who truly believes their work matters and doesn't want to leave people waiting longer than they already have. And maybe that's the most striking part of his story. At just 29, Tyler has already faced more than most people do in decades. Serious health scares, emotional family discoveries, and the pressure of hundreds of thousands of people looking to him for answers. Yet after everything, he doesn't step away. He shares updates, thanks his supporters, and reminds the 600,000 people still waiting that he hasn't forgotten them. You can look at his story from different angles, but one thing stands out: he keeps showing up. And the real weight of it all isn't just what he's been through. It's the fact that his story is still unfolding in real time, with challenges that haven't fully passed yet.